another episode of Search It Up with Sienna, the web series where I use IMDb to discover and talk about all different types of movies and TV shows, and how the people in front of and behind the camera not only make it all possible, but are somehow all interconnected. Last week, we chatted about the movie night at the museum with Owen Wilson, and Owen Wilson was also in the movie Wonder. So today, we're going to be talking about the movie Wonder. And joining me today is special guest Izabela Vidovic, who plays Via in the movie. Wonder tells the story of August Pullman, a 10-year-old boy who is born with facial differences and is entering mainstream school for the first time. On his journey, he teaches his family, his classmates, and everyone around him that you can't blend in when you are born to stand out. Jacob Tremblay stars as Augie, and Julia Roberts and Owen Wilson as his parents. Wonder was one of my all-time favorite books, and I love how the movie is just as powerful. One of my other favorite things about the book that actually also is followed in the movie is the different points of views, how not only is the book and the movie told in the perspective of Augie, but also his sister Via. And now, I would like to introduce my special guest today, Izabela Vidovic. In addition to her role as Via in the movie Wonder, her credits also include Supergirl the TV series, Veronica Mars, iZombie, The Fosters, About a Boy, and Homefront. And now, without further ado, here's my interview with Izabela Vidovic. How did you get started acting?
It's always kind of a funny story because I didn't intentionally seek out acting. My mom is a filmmaker, and she was an actress first, and then she sort of transitioned behind the camera. And she didn't intentionally want to put me in the industry because I was so young when I started. I was like 7 or 8, and we were at an Easter party. And I was always super precocious as a kid, and I loved singing. And so I just started singing a song, and one of our friends came over and was like, "Oh, she's super outgoing. Maybe I can introduce her to an agent that I know." And my mom was kind of a little bit unsure about that just because I was so young, and she didn't know if I'd want to be in the industry and working. But I ended up auditioning for the agent, and I loved it. And I got in, and that was it.
That's so interesting. And what was the audition process like for Wonder?
For Wonder, it was kind of long. There was a lot of auditions because it's an ensemble cast, so it's kind of hard to cast an ensemble to make sure everybody's the right fit. So I think I went in for a pre-read, and then I was called back, and then I had a session with the producers, and then I had a session with Steven, our director, and then I had a session with Steven, and I read with Jacob, a chemistry read, and then I had booked the part, but then they brought me back in to read with a couple of options for Najee's character, Justin, a couple of different actors. So it was 5 or 6 in total, I think.
Did you know the book Wonder, and did you read it?
Actually, I knew the book, but I hadn't read it before I auditioned. And then when I auditioned for the movie, I actually just started reading it because I was curious as I was auditioning for it. So that was cool. And then I reread it when I got the project.
Yeah. And I love the format of the book because I love how there's different perspectives, and I love how it does that with the movie, and I think it's so cool that it followed a similar format with different perspectives for each character. How did that work with filming?
I think what was kind of cool about it is that because, when you're filming, everything's out of sequence, and so you don't really know what it's going to be pieced together as in editing. It's always a surprise, for actors. So I think that it was almost like a pleasant surprise to see how it was all pieced together, because a lot of us weren't there when the other were filming their own scenes. So I didn't see a lot of the scenes in the film, especially the scenes in the school with Augie and all the rest of the kids. I wasn't really in any of those.
Hmm.
So that was a lot of fun for me to see, Jack Will's point of view and Augie's point of view and all of that. Um, but I knew it was going to be somewhat, like that because of the script in the book, and that's how it is written.
Definitely. And I understand that RJ Palacio had like a little cameo in the movie. Did you have any exchanges with her?
Yeah, oh my goodness. She's a wonderful human being. We still keep in touch. And there was actually um, a point when, after the film, we all went out to do, well, not all of us, but a few of the cast and a few of like the director and the producer and RJ, we went out to London to do press for a few days for the movie before the release.
Mhm.
And one of the nights, a few of us went out to get dinner, and that was including me and RJ. And so it was really awesome because I felt like I got to really know her a
Oh,
bit better than I had on set, because sometimes it's limited on set.
And did she give you like any points about your character?
She just, which was a really huge compliment to me, because she really, really liked the way that I had handled Via, and the way that Stephen and I, Stephen, our director, the way that we had both sort of handled like portraying Via and just not making her out to be like a weak character or somebody who couldn't like handle herself, but more so just, like somebody who is a little bit on the sidelines and a bit vulnerable, and like a teenager who's a little bit insecure. And yeah, it was cool to talk to her and hear how she sort of developed that character when writing it.
Definitely. And was there a scene that was the most challenging to film?
Um, that's a good question. It's been a minute. I'm trying to think. Um, I would say maybe maybe the most challenging was um the scene where I had like the monologue for our town. But I wouldn't say, like, I think it was just challenging because it's a monologue, and I usually like scenes where I am like feeding off of another person. So monologues are sometimes harder because it's just you.
Mm.
So yeah, I would maybe say that one. But there's a lot of really great bits and wonders. So I don't know.
What was the most memorable thing about filming then?
Memorable. It's a lot of really good memories. I would say probably the chemistry that the whole cast had,
Mm.
which I think you can see when you're watching the film, because
Yeah,
everybody just works so well together, and it was just a really, really fabulous group of people, both the cast and the crew. Like, it just kind of worked. Everybody was really sweet, really great together. Stephen Shabosky, our director, just did a really great job of kind of herding us all in, because there were so many cast members. So I really enjoyed that. It's rare to have that many people and have everybody get along so well.
hmm Yeah, you can definitely tell, like especially with you and Jacob and Owen and Julia, you guys like all sort of felt like a family in
Oh, that's awesome.
the movie.
Thank you.
And was there a scene that you felt that you feel was the most challenging moment for Via?
Challenging moment for Via. I think one of the parts that stands out is there's a scene in the film when Via is arguing with her mom about not having invited um,
Oh yeah.
them to Augie to see the play,
Hmm.
and it's like the first moment where you really see Via get like angry and upset and just kind of let out all this emotion because she felt guilty and frustrated that she was even suggesting that, but also for feeling that. And I think that was like a big turning point for
Yeah.
the character.
High school was a big start for her, and she was a little sad and a little nervous and mixed emotions, but she was just so excited to see her best friend who she hasn't seen in a while. And then she all of a sudden she just gets like thrown back from her, and she's just moved on and she doesn't want to be with Via anymore. and then Via just lets out all this emotion. Then she finds Justin, and that's sort of when her hopes start to come up a little bit.
Yeah, that's a really great that's a really great example too, because I think that I don't know, high school, well, middle school, high school, any kind of new transition can be really hard.
Yeah,
And I think that when you don't have your friends by your side, or just some people that you could get by with, it makes it a lot more difficult.
definitely. And it takes place in New York. Where do you film the scenes? Like, for example, in the school scenes and your house scene?
So we actually filmed the movie in Vancouver. And then we did some reshoots in New York a few months later. Yeah, I think it was just a few months later that I was actually the only cast member that went up to New York, which was crazy and kind of a weird experience because, like, because they didn't really need any of the cast up there. They just happened to see me in a couple bits. Um, but we filmed the school scene at an actual school in Canada, in Vancouver, and then the inside of the house was on a stage.
Mm-hmm.
So that was not a real house. And then trying to remember the exterior. I don't know. It's been a it's been a while, but it was in Canada.
How is it to work with Julia Roberts and Owen Wilson?
Oh, it was amazing. Well, I've been watching movies like since I could remember, so of course I had known the both of them
Mhm.
from some of like my favorite films. So it was like a little bit intimidating at first, I think, but they're really nice people and really great to work with. So it just became a lot of fun.
Yeah. And how did you prepare for family roles? Like, did it take time together, like to sort of like you said, like with the chemistry, did it take time to bond that?
So we actually, I was really thankful because not all directors work the same way, but Stephen was wanting to do rehearsals with Julia, Owen, Jacob, and I, and so we did end up like taking a few hours, I remember, and just like one afternoon reading through all of our scenes in the script and kind of talking about them and just getting to know one another. And then before I filmed, I met Jacob and Julia and Owen, and we had like an afternoon kind of barbecue together. So we had definitely gotten to know each other a little bit before stepping on set, which helps a lot
Uh-huh.
because you build that, like that comfort, that that family familiarity.
Which character in the movie do you most relate to?
um, I would say I relate to a little bit of like a little bit of Via, a little bit of Jack Will, a little bit of Miranda. Like, I think that the cool thing about the movie is that you can see yourself in everybody.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm like one singular character, I
Mm.
don't think.
You like relate to everybody, sort of.
Yeah, kind of in different ways.
The message of the movie is really important and timely. Like, choose kind. Did working on the movie like change anything in like your in life?
Um, it did make me a little bit, I would say that the film definitely created like a greater awareness for me, specifically with what craniofacial disorders were and like facial differences and kind of understanding that world um, in a way that I wasn't introduced to before. But in reading the book and talking to RJ, and then we had the opportunity to meet a few families and a few children who have like facial differences and getting to talk to them about their experiences, and like experiences were similar to Augie's, and kind of like all of them had a lot of great things to say about the book and like how it did a good job of kind of representing what it was like to go in the outside world with something that was different to a lot of people and unknown. So what I appreciated is that I got to, after Wonder And after talking to some families, I became more involved in that world, and I became a bit involved with, CCA, which is Children's Craniofacial Association, in my face. And yeah, I was grateful that I had met people that really changed my perspective in for the better.
Who do you think is the hero in Wonder?
The hero. That's a good question. All of the characters kind of grow in a really large way, like even Julian, and in the end you see like the reason for why he behaves the way he does, and you see him kind of make that connection with the principal, with Mandy Patinkin's character, and sort of understand like that what he was doing was wrong.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the great thing about the book and the movie, is that like no one character gets left behind. Like everybody has their own arc.
Everybody kind of plays like a part in motivating Augie and making him feel more comfortable. Like he is someone special, and that he should stand out because he was born to stand out. Like I remember one of my favorite lines in the movie was actually something Via says when it's his first day, and she says to him, she whispers in his ear, if you were born to stand out, and if people stare, let them stare. And then I think, and then Summer like going over to the table to like just interact with Augie. I think all of them, their actions sort of played a role in Augie's life.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just it's a special story because it is a story about Augie, but also kind of about everybody around him.
Yeah. You're a producer with Almost Normal Productions. Can you talk about the production company a little bit?
Yeah, Almost Normal Productions. I am one of the 3 leading producers for a female-owned film and TV production company, and it was founded actually by my mom in 2010, and her and her creative partner Catherine had been writing and developing projects together for years. And they made a feature film in 2012, and then they did some short films. And so I think when I was around, probably not far from your age, a few years ago, not long ago, I was interested in what my mom was doing behind the camera. And I ended up asking her if I could, write a short and have it produced by the company and see if I liked it. And so she helped me out. And then from there, I started associate producing some short films. And then just like 2 or 3 years ago, I decided that I was going to officially join on with the company and start producing things on a larger scale. And last year, I produced my first feature film, and it's called Severed Silence. It's a horror movie, so it's very different from Wonder. And I was in it too, so that was a really great experience. And we shot that last year, and we finished the film, and now we're securing distribution to get it out there. But the company is really all about just like making movies for everybody, but for women to channel their like inner kind of badass, and just appeal to strong female leading characters.
Definitely. And what is your favorite book?
My favorite book is actually a book that was written by the director of Wonder. It's called The Perks of Being a Wallflower.
That's so cool. Before we end today, I have a little game, sort of. So I'm going to ask you just a few questions, and basically what you have to do is answer them as quickly as possible.
Let's do it.
What's your favorite color?
Purple.
Do you have a favorite sport you play?
I do not. I love running.
Okay. Tomatoes or cucumbers?
Tomatoes.
Favorite movie or TV show?
These are hard. I'm gonna say favorite TV show, Friends.
First song that pops into your head?
Make Me Feel by Janelle Monáe. I don't know why.
If you could be a superhero, which one would you be?
I would be Supergirl because I have played a younger version and I think she's awesome.
In the movie, Augie has somebody beside him, and it's like Chewbacca, and he sort of relates to Chewbacca a little bit, like how everybody would stare at Chewbacca if he went to school. Do you have like a superhero
Yes.
you would want by your side?
A superhero that I'd want by my side. That's a good question. I think that I would want, I'm trying to think of like people that I idolize because there's a lot of them. I think that if I wanted somebody by my side, like if I was walking through school, this is not fast at all, I'm sorry. I think I would like Hermione Granger. I
I love,
think that would be a great person to take me through.
yeah, I love Hermione. Summer or winter?
Winter.
Favorite flavor of ice cream?
Dulce de leche.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
I see myself doing what I'm doing and talking to lovely people like yourself.
Thank you. I want to thank you so much for doing this. It was such a pleasure to talk to you, and I learned so many things. And I think that Via is a great character, and I think you're so talented.
Thank you so much for the kind words, and thank you for having me. I think you're fabulous. I appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye, Sienna.
Thank you so much, Izabela. Your performance in Wonder was incredible, and I had so much fun talking to you. And now, before we search it up, here's a quick fun fact. Did you know that the bicycle that Augie August Pullman is riding in the movie is actually the same bicycle that Elliot rode from E.T.? That's really cool, right? And now it's time to search it up on IMDb. Let's see. Oh, David Hoberman was the producer on Wonder, and he was also the executive in charge of production at Disney for Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Well, see you next time to talk about Honey,